Good morning, guys. It's about 7:43. It was an absolutely fantastic night's sleep. I I definitely crashed last night. It was a tough week. Not much went on during the night. About 1 o'clock, there was a coyote that came near the camp and just started yapping up a storm. Um, no worries there. I just sat up and told him what I thought of his yapping up a storm, and wasn't too long before he went away. Um, got a lot of sleep. I know I have about 4 or 5 hours this morning. It is going to start raining this afternoon, and it pretty much guaranteed that's going to happen. So I need to get up, get around, get my day started now that dawn's broken. And first thing after I get camp tidied up is to try and go and get some firewood and get a fire going. Meant to have a steak last night for dinner. That just didn't work out because I like going to try and find firewood while it's dark out, unless I already have a fire going. So we're gonna end up having steak for breakfast or lunch today, and see how that turns out. Anyway, um, time to get up. Yeah, so to do a fire, it isn't like turning on the burner at home. There's some work that has to be done. I wasn't able to find any cedar near me. I'm going to try that, try searching for some here later today before it starts raining. I did find the standing dead trees that you see me processing right now. It's really important to get the standing dead. I know a lot of times I see, if you go to a state campground or you see, watch somebody trying to get firewood for a fire, they're just picking stuff off the ground. Trust me, that's the last place you want to have it, because when it's laying on the ground, it's just absorbing all that moisture in contact with the ground. It's not going to burn well. It's going to smoke a lot. And if you have bugs that you want to get rid of once you have a fire going, yeah, pick some wood off the ground and throw it on. That smoke will keep the bugs away. But otherwise, it's just just causes too many problems. So I get myself a pile of shavings like this. Let's see if that catches a spark. And let's get real. Usually when it's damp like this, sometimes it doesn't work. So we go with the old Bic. No. No wonder that didn't want to start. Not at all. Yeah, it's a little bit of a chilly day here. It's about 53 right now. Got down to, I think, 42 last night. It's not a problem with that sleep system I have. Between the ground sheet that I have to keep the moisture barrier, and then a inflatable pad, and the hike and bike. It's actually a 0-degree sleeping bag that I have on there. Now 0 degree, of course, it keeps me comfortable. I've got it down into about 24 before with thermals on, and have slept just fine. Always part of that sleep system is a winter hat I put on my head, especially this time of year and when it gets colder, because you lose most of your heat through your head at night in a situation like this. So you just keep it covered and you're fine. It's kind of funny, about 2 hours ago, a dog came around. Must be from a farm or house somewhere on the edge of this part of the woods. And I didn't catch the going eating the steak on the camera, because I had run out of camera space and I had to get it downloaded before I could start again. Yeah, that's something as far as this camera goes. I've just got it in the mail this week, and this is my first time testing it out. That's the reason for getting it, is to be able to take out the woods like this and capture these times I have. I go camping about doing this type of thing about every 3 weeks, and I've watched a lot of YouTube videos. I really thought it'd be something to try and see what it'd be like to do that myself. Uh, so I got it, and we're trying it out. This day's just been kind of a, get the camp set up, go collect firewood. I've been reading my book some, listening to a book on tape too. Reset my tarp over my sleeping bag a little bit ago. Got that main line up. It is supposed to rain this afternoon and through the night. It's my anticipation I'm going to lower that tarp and make more of a tent out of it to keep the water off me. Shouldn't be a problem. I've been in plenty of rainy nights in this type of a setup, but I always do lower the tarp when that happens, just keep the rain off. Oh, I wanted to go kayak camping this weekend. I'm gonna make it a 3-night weekend. I wanted to go kayak camping. I've built my own kayak. I'll show that to you in another video. Um, Bought a plan off of Cape Falcon Kayaks out in Washington State. Brian, he's a great guy, absolutely great guy. Skin over frame kayak. I took me about 32 hours to build, over a month's worth of time, and it has now about 230 miles that I've gone in that kayak. I use my GPS to keep track of mileage. It's kind of my thing now. But it's been a fantastic kayak. I tell you what, I've had it in some of the roughest conditions, and it has performed like a champ. Not a problem with it at all. Like I said, I wanted to get a trip in that before the water gets too cold, and it just didn't work out. I wish it had, but I just couldn't get the drop off and pickup like I needed to. So that was out. Uh, Second choice was to come here and enjoy beautiful nature. I gotta tell you, I needed this. I needed this. If I don't get an injection of this, but at least every 3 weeks, I get depressed. Um, this is so relaxing, so fun to get out here and practice bushcraft skills. Be able to light those fires by using a feather stick or some other media. And whether I'm kayaking down a river for 6 to 8 hours and finding my next campsite, whether I'm backpacking 8 miles into the woods, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I wish I could have caught it on camera. You all would have seen about 2 adults and 13 teenagers just troop by here. They're headed for the campsite that I'm registered on. It's not a problem. I don't think they'll be too loud. About a half-mile away now. But they hiked in the other way around, so they had 6 miles on by the time we got here. And those boys had some gigantic backpacks on their backs. It must be a chore humping all that into the bush. Anyway, yeah, that was fun. So this GoPro camera that I got, I've been learning some things about it. It eats batteries like a hound. It really does. It just chews them right up. And the card that comes with it, there's a 32 gig card. Only takes about an hour's worth of video. Now, an hour may sound like much, but you go through a lot just shooting segments like this to try and put a video together. The way I figure it from the research I've done, I've got to do at least 2 hours of video to get a half an hour to 45 minutes content that once it's edited out. I don't know, we'll see. This is new to me, videotaping, and I really did want to share the enjoyment of these trips and the different things that I learned, the different things that I experienced. You never know what's going to happen. You think you do your planning, you think that you've got it all covered, but you may run into, well, like last night. People ask me, well, aren't you nervous about going out in the middle of the woods all by yourself? What if something happened? What if an animal came along? And there are animals in these woods. Besides your deer and deer, rabbit, and squirrel. The squirrel is actually probably the one that annoys me the most because they're destructive. If you're not around your campsite, they can tear your stuff up looking for food, and that's just plain old annoying, coming back and having the food you counted on eating ruined and possible holes in your equipment. But in these woods, there are a bear. I've never ever seen one.
Uh, there are uh, hogs, which are probably the most dangerous things out here. Uh, I've seen a couple of those recently, um, not here on this trip. The wild animals are more afraid of you than you are of them. They catch your smell and they go the other way. I've never had that, uh, except for a domesticated dog that comes in the middle of the woods. I never would have expected. Uh, yeah, hogs will run away. Um, I've run across many snakes, but the snakes don't want anything to do with you either. I know there's stories about snakes crawling into your sleeping bag to stay warm, and I suppose that could happen. It's never happened to me in all the years that I've. I don't like steak in the woods. Tell you what, I spent years eating MREs and freeze-dried food, going camping, and had an add water to whatever I was eating. And to be honest, I watched a YouTube video by Joe Robinette, and that changed my life because I actually went from eating that dried stuff to bringing eggs and bacon and steak and fresh vegetables with me. Makes all the difference in the world. Having this kind of food to be able to camp with, I mean, is stunning. It really is. Now, let's be honest, to get it over the fire and have the exact medium rare that you like to have, it doesn't happen. So by now, I mean, it's my second night here. It's been 24 hours. The steak that I'm eating was frozen when I came out here. Still cold when I put it on the over the fire, over the coals. You got to get your fire just right. Get it baked down so the coals are there, and then put the steak on top. But this is so much better. To be able to have that flavor in your mouth. Oh, it's so nice. Mm. So I met a troop of Boy Scouts today. They're actually camping on the site that I registered for. I didn't want to be on that site because it's all open. They had done a controlled burn on it. I don't know, it had been 3 to 6 months ago because some of the foliage is starting to grow back. But it's totally open. And right now, you probably can't hear it, but it's raining. Hasn't reached down to me yet. Was expecting that about noon. It's now about 5:30. I can hear it in the canopy. It'll come down. It'll get to me here shortly. But in the meantime, I get to enjoy a nice fire. I get to enjoy a fantastic steak. Ribeye steak. This is my favorite. Got all my gear underneath the tarp. Before I go to bed tonight, I'll lower that tarp and actually make a kind of like a tent out of it. So it's supposed to rain all night. I don't care. I'm at a spot where the ground is sloped away from where I'm sleeping. I have this tarp up where I can stake it down just like a tent and have the air going through it, so there'll be no condensation. What a great night. This is what I think about while I'm at work every day. And you know, you go through the pain and the troubles and whatever work is, whatever your work is. And when it becomes stressful and I'm tired of it, I think of this moment. This moment when I have a fire in front of me, a great steak in my lap. I'm going to be warm and dry during the night. I've had a fantastic day. Done some hiking, gone off on some trails. I ventured off the trail and looked at some different terrain. Had squirrels in the canopy above me just running around, doing what squirrels do. Had a lot of relaxed time. It can't get any better than this. It really can't. I needed this. It was a tough week for me. It wasn't for any given reason. There was conflict at work, people with drama. You know how you have at every place. And yeah, I know I was a little moody myself this week. No idea why. This makes up for it all. Even hearing that rain in the canopy, I mean, that is relaxing. Hearing the rain hitting the leaves above me. You know, when I was young, and I was thinking about what career I wanted to have, I was thinking about a forester. Wanted to be a forester. Wanted to learn about the trees, wanted to learn about the woods. Probably because the way I grew up, I think. It's not the way my life went. I went into manufacturing, which is as far as you can be from forestry. Fire's getting just a little too hot for me sitting there. But every chance I get back to my roots. I get back to what I knew when I was young, what I enjoyed. And I've been into many state parks. I'll tell you what. And I've camped and I've hiked their trails. I mean, there's this one state park in Tennessee. They had a 21-mile trail that I had hiked, and it was not kept up at all. It was just astounding to me. You have such beauty as that, and you don't keep it up. You don't do what it takes to let people get in there. Now I know why. People come and they only go in a short ways. Not many are going to go that 21-mile trail. I've gone camping, and I'll camp in like I have a sleep system set up here, or I'll camp in a tent, or I'll camp in a hammock. I've done all three, and all three are enjoyable under certain circumstances. But there we go. The wind changes, and you get a face full of smoke. Animals out in the woods, I don't really worry about. I do have my knife, which it isn't a small one. That's the one that I use to not only cook with and cut meat and such, but I use it for chopping wood as well. And then I bring my hatchet. Now, Some bring an axe, and I have brought an axe on occasion in certain circumstances where I'm not going to be hiking a long ways, but a axe that you sharpen properly can do just as good a job, and you don't need to carry all that weight. In fact, as far as weight in backpacking or in doing any of this, you'll notice if you ever see any of my equipment, I have written on each piece of equipment down to the ounces how much each of them weighs. Because putting a backpack on, you learn really quick that there are things that you need, like water, and there's things that you don't need. Now you notice that I'm sitting in this chair. This is my luxury item. This chair weighs 2 pounds, and regardless of where I go, I don't go anywhere without it. I'm willing to take that extra 2 pounds to be able to have some place to sit like this by a fire and just be able to hang out. Yeah, that's really worth it. I think I'm going to save, I don't know, I may save taking a look at my equipment breakdown till I get back home to save on battery and camera time, or I may do it Sunday before Sunday. That way I will know how much time I still have left and how much power I still have left on the camera. Yeah. So I'm just going to sit here and hang out. Got plenty of firewood for today. I'll keep the fire going as long as I can. It's going to rain tonight, so I'll get that up off the ground and make sure that stays dry. I want to leave as much of it in its natural state as I can for 2 reasons. One, it's less likely to get water soaked into it when I do it that way, and 2, when I leave out of here, you won't see a trace of any of the stuff that you see going on right now will all be gone. And yeah. I love this. I love this. Now, even that was an adventure. Because that 21-mile trail was, because it wasn't kept up, it had trees and brush growing in where the trail should have been. I got lost several times. That's okay. You need to have a compass and need to know how to do dead reckoning on trails. I look back at it, and it was harrowing at the time, but what a memory. What an adventure. I love this stuff. Doing something that somebody else won't do or can't do. Going out in the woods, going on the water, making memories. That's what it's all about, is making memories that you can look back on. So I'm still making memories. I'm still planning trips. I'm still doing things that other folks wouldn't do because they're too, I don't know, it's not their thing. They want to be in a hotel, and they want to be in a camper that has every known comfort of life. I'm really comfortable out here. You've got to be dry. You've got to be warm. You have to have food and fire to keep you warm. You need water. I mean, water is no more than 10 minutes away from where I'm at right now. No, granted, you don't get money by doing stuff like this, but it's still fun. I still love it. I'm going to keep doing this until I can't do it anymore. I've been to places that have been absolutely gorgeous. I've been in caves, underwater caves that you can only get to by a kayak. I've been at spots that there's no way you can actually reach from the land. I've done things that other people only dream of doing. Making memories, that's what it's all about. I love living. Anyway, I need to eat this before it gets cold, and I'll catch you all later. If not, I'll probably catch you in the morning. I don't know. This is beautiful. It does seem that I've come up with a friend. Don't know what his name is. Here I'm out in the middle of the woods, and him and I think his sister came along. Anyway, I fed some of my steak to him, and he's stuck around ever since. So it's been, I don't know, about an hour and a half. I'm just making some coffee on the fire, hanging out and sharing some time with my new buddy. Isn't that right, buddy?
Hey guys, hope you can see this, I don't know. Well, the rain that was threatening to come finally came. I brought my shelter down into a tent fashion, keep the rain off my sleep system. The fire is still going and the warmth is still coming into the tent, so it's actually pretty nice. I smell the smoke smell. I'm going to read a book for a while until I get sleepy and see what. Well, until I get sleepy. I guess I'll catch you all in the morning. Hope you have a good night, and we'll see you in the AM.